Welcome to Haunted Narratives.
The clock on the dashboard of my car blinked 2 a.m. as I navigated the winding, deserted road. I had just left my friend's house after a late-night gathering, and the moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie pallor over the landscape. The world outside was shrouded in darkness, with only the dim glow of my headlights to guide me. As I drove further into the inky abyss, my headlights caught something peculiar out of the corner of my eye. An old, weather-beaten sign loomed ahead, its faded letters spelling out the Harvest Inn. Beneath the words, a crude image of a grinning scarecrow was etched into the sign. The sight was peculiar. I had lived in this town for years, yet I had never heard of the Harvest Inn. It seemed like a relic from another time, forgotten by all but the moonlight. Curiosity gnawed at me, and despite the late hour and the eerie ambiance, I decided to pull into the overgrown parking lot. Gravel crunched beneath my tires as I parked, and an unsettling sense of isolation washed over me. I was the only car there, and the building before me looked like a decrepit, abandoned relic. It was a 2-story structure with faded white clapboard siding, and a moss-covered roof that sagged ominously. Broken windows stared out like hollow eyes. For a moment, I hesitated, my rational mind urging me to leave this forsaken place and continue my journey home. But the allure of the unknown was too strong to resist, and I found myself stepping out of the car, drawn toward the creaking front door. The wind whispered through the trees, creating a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. I pushed open the heavy weathered door, and a musty odor filled my nostrils, a pungent mix of damp wood and decay. The interior was dimly lit. My heart raced in my chest, but I pressed on, curiosity driving me forward. Plates and silverware lay scattered across tables, coated in a thick layer of dust. Cobwebs hung like grotesque tapestries from the ceiling, and the air grew colder with each step. I reached the rear of the restaurant, where a swinging door led into the kitchen. As I pushed it open, a wave of frigid air washed over me. The kitchen was a scene of utter chaos. Pots and pans lay in disarray, and the floor was slick with an unidentifiable dark substance. My footsteps echoed ominously as I moved through the kitchen, drawn to a flickering light in the corner. There I discovered an old roosted gas stove with a single burner still alight. On it sat a tarnished teapot, its lid rattling as if boiling water. Fear clouded at my chest as I reached for the teapot. It was as if the restaurant itself was beckoning me further into its depths. I touched the teapot, and a ghostly voice whispered in my ear, sending a shiver down my spine.
"Welcome to the Harvest Inn,"
it murmured, and I spun around, searching for the source. But the kitchen remained empty, and the voice had vanished into the ether. Desperation consumed me, and I fled down the stairs, through the kitchen, and out the front door. The moment I stepped outside, the sense of foreboding lifted, and I found myself back in the overgrown parking lot, my car waiting for me. Without looking back, I jumped into my car and sped away from the Harvest Inn, leaving that cursed place behind. The moonlight grew brighter as I drove, casting long shadows on the road ahead. But the fear and dread I had experienced in that forsaken restaurant would stay with me forever, a haunting memory that would forever linger in the darkest corners of my mind. As I finally reached the safety of my home, I couldn't help but wonder if the Harvest Inn had ever truly existed, or if it had been a malevolent mirage, a nightmarish trap for the lost and curious. One thing was certain. I would never forget the horrors I had encountered that night, and I would never venture near that old restaurant near the road again, no matter how magnetic its pull.